Welcome to Jewish Midlife. I'm Devora Krasnianski. Have you ever wondered what those old skirts tucked away in your closet might reveal about you, or why that dress you bought on a whim remains still untouched? In today's episode, we explore the profound relationship between our clothing and our inner selves. Join us for a captivating conversation with Mazal Etoille, our therapist who utilizes clothing and wardrobe as tools for introspection and transformation. Mazal guides us through a fascinating exploration of how our clothing, those we wear or don't wear anymore, those that we bought and never wore, how our clothing offers insights into our desires, aspirations, and our innermost selves. Throughout the episode, we'll uncover the hidden messages from our wardrobes, from why we still hold on to clothing we don't use anymore, to the transformative power of dressing intentionally. Be prepared to be enlightened, inspired, and perhaps even surprised by what your wardrobe reveals about you. I'm really excited when I heard what you did, and I got really intrigued. Like, therapy, transitions, clothing, like what is that all about? And then when we had that conversation, I was like, wow, we have to share this with other people. So let's jump right into the topic because I find it fascinating. Let's start with a little bit about yourself, how you got into it and what you do, because I just find this whole thing so exciting.
So my name is Mazal Etoille. I'm French, living in Israel at the moment. And I came to discover this subject by reconnecting and discovering myself. So I wasn't in my transition in my life. And when I look back at my story and how close and how I changed through life, and at the same time, I evolved with my clothing. So I wanted to see if there is something that can be done and that can be shared with other women. And I discovered that there is something called fashion psychology, which is the complete science around clothing and how it impacts. So it's based on lots of science, and I wanted to see how we can connect that with life's transition, how women change and evolve with themselves. And it makes a lot of sense. First, it gives confidence, courage, and to be brave in those moments. Transitions are challenging. It's letting go of something that does not serve us anymore. And at the same time, is eventually evolving with our clothing and how we want to present ourselves and the woman wants to become, and have the bravery to show the world inside out who she really is now, because the transition, the midlife transition, is an opportunity to be authentic, to share truly, to make a choice, really who we are. And clothes is also a tool to do that. It can be a statement as well as behaving, as acting, so that's what I do.
I love that. I love that interplay, and like I've just found the whole thing fascinating of the connection of how we can use our clothing as a tool, and it also tells us about ourselves. So I really want to get into that topic, and I could really delve into it. I don't want to talk about religious levels of clothing. I don't want to talk about any of that. Also, what I understand is like you don't end up telling people how to dress. It's what clothing says. So let's go into it because I don't want to say what you told me. You know it so much better. And I'm still learning from you and with you. So I'm really excited about this.
So thank you for reminding that. The clothing, I'm not telling any woman who or how she should or should not present herself. I truly believe that each one of us have our inner connection. We came completely knowing why we are here. So it's going to, and why and how we want to present ourselves. Women they know the best what's worth from them. I'm here to listen and to give the small actions to help her act on that, because it's difficult, let's be honest. Making a change, okay? And on midlife, in this moment that there is a complete inner change as a woman, making the statement outside requests a lot of courage, because there is the environment, what's gonna say about me, and I want to be perceived. What I want to say right now in this season of my life, of her life. So clothing in general, it can be what you would wear, the color that she's going to wear, you're going to wear, how your wardrobe will be organized, what you're gonna have and not have, what time of you do shopping. It's connecting also to money.
Right.
How you spend your money is connecting to spirituality as well. I'm not talking about religion, okay? The way how you want to be respected, your body. It's also self-confidence, is self-esteem with your body and accepting how it look like and how it's gonna change. Because with age, we want it or we don't, our body is going to evolve. It's changing all the time. And to loving, to preserve it, and as well to put on us clothes, to choose also materials that will give you a great sensation. We know, like, we go with some materials, we just touch it and it's like, oh, I don't want to have that on my body. And then there are specific materials that would feel safe and in harmony and completely great with it. So
Okay, so let's really like unpack this all. So let's talk about when you work with somebody,
yeah.
you look at their clothing, you talk about their clothing. And so what does clothing actually tell you or tell us about ourselves? So let's unpack that part a little bit.
So what I do usually, I ask the woman what it means to her. And in wardrobes, it's specific. Usually it's like behind the door, we will have what we'll say about us inside, okay? Even though we don't want to, this is why it's behind door. We
You
don't
talk
like,
about when you go into someone's closet.
yes, in the closet.
Okay.
So we have several things that can happen there. You can have closet that are full of clothes. Like, you know, that moment that you open, like there is the moment that you open the door and the closet and you're like, oh, I don't have nothing to wear. And
Right.
still the closet is full of clothes.
Right.
The issue is not that you have nothing to wear. It's that eventually the style that you have today is not relevant of who you are, or that you used to wear the same thing and not playing with a new combination. So having tons of clothes can say either we are full in our mind, there is too much, and we still have a lot, and we buy a lot again and again. Or that we are thinking eventually that you think that there is this missing, like, I don't have enough. So let's fill it with something. And sometimes what happened is that some women that I met value more the things that they have than truly who they are. Like that they have been so much projecting on the stuff than themselves. So they feel like empty, yet the closet is full.
So what I'm hearing through all of this is that looking at our clothing, or you helping someone look at their clothing, can really give them a sense of like real questions, real introspection, real self-awareness.
Yes.
If you actually ask and allow yourself those hard questions, like what is this clothing saying about me? What is a full closet or an empty closet saying about me? And what's still in my closet? So I find that all fascinating. Like I know for myself, I have stuff that I want to fit into. I've been thinking since we spoke last week about why am I holding on to some of these things? And I find that whole introspection, self-awareness fascinating by looking at my clothing and instead of asking it from other angles. I think it's fascinating what you're doing.
Will you give me the opportunity to ask you a few questions after what you said?
So I was looking at this skirt that I really liked and I spent a lot on that I don't think I'll fit into. And I think it's classic, so it will last like forever. It'll always be in style. But why am I holding on to it? It's been like 4 years since I was able to wear it.
4 years, okay. What make you buy this? You said that you spend a lot on it?
I was able to fit into it. at that time.
You was able at the time. Okay. So what happened at the time when you were able to fit into it? Was it an occasion? What was it, like a situation specific what you buy that? You just bought and you say, oh, it's beautiful, I want that skirt, or was it for an event or something?
It was for an event.
Okay, what was the event?
It was a big party, and I had lost some weight and I wanted to look good and feel good. And so I spent on that skirt.
Okay, so that was like a reward on the fact that you lose some weight.
Right.
And you felt good, you felt like confident, you felt beautiful eventually, you were like, and it was a party, so you want to show off.
I don't know if I wanted
Maybe
to show
not.
off, but I wanted to feel good. I don't think that I wear clothing
Okay.
for other people. I don't think so.
Okay. So it was for yourself. And that
Right.
was okay. And since then you changed, your body has changed.
Right.
Okay. And you don't fit in that specific. Do you miss the time where when you fit into it?
I guess, but not in any real way. Like I'm perfectly comfortable with how I am now. It's just a pretty skirt, and I'm still keeping it, even though I'm not going to fit into it. I just like seeing it. It's a pretty skirt.
Just seeing it makes you happy? Even though you don't wear it.
Right. It's just a pretty skirt. Like, wow, you had good taste when you bought that.
You still have good taste today.
I do. But that was a nice skirt. It's pretty. It is like good lines. It's just a nice. I don't know. So I don't know but I just found it fascinating. I'm still keeping that one skirt from that size.
Just that one. That's
Right.
it.
Right.
You don't have any other clothes that you don't fit in.
Probably do, but I don't even notice those. It's just that one skirt that I enjoy seeing.
I'm still want to know what was connected to it. Do you have difficulty to let go of things, or nothing, just that specific skirt?
I hold on to things, but I don't hold on to too many things. I have some
Okay.
clothing that I'm not wearing in my closet, but that one is specifically, I enjoy seeing it. The other ones I should just get rid of.
So maybe there is nothing to look at.
Okay.
If that there is, usually if there is one thing that you just enjoy seeing,
It's a piece of
but
art.
yes, okay, it's like it's a piece of art. There is many solutions that you can do. I don't know. You can go to a tailor and to tailor it again, or add something to fit it today.
Right. My point of bringing that particular thing up is I found it fascinating, just like looking at my clothing to start asking myself questions. And what I see from this part of the conversation is not everything is so insightful. Like just let it go. If it doesn't bring up any real answers, it's like it's okay.
Most of the things that we do have a certain signification of what we do. But if you have one thing, okay, you hold on just on one specific thing, and the feeling of it, or just the beauty of it, it's good. It's like having what you said, art. Okay, I'm not gonna discuss hours about one thing.
Right.
You would have half of my wardrobe is full of clothes of when I was another weight.
Right.
I will start to ask you more questions. There is
Okay, so
something
let's do
that
that in
is
hypothetically, because that is
yes.
typical enough. It happens for a lot of women, but they do hold on to their clothing for the different size.
So it's usually it's because there is like the yo-yo effect of some women that has this jump between losing weight, getting weight, using weight, getting weight, and then they have a lot of each size. So I will have the clothes, and then I will have when I get more. And that shows sometimes some instability. Instability in the weight, but as well in life. Okay, so it's a lot of ups and downs.
Right. So if the reason that they're holding on to it is because they will maybe get back to that weight, and then I know myself, I'll go back up and I'll go back to that.
So it's like even not giving yourself the opportunity to stay, okay, I'm gonna stay in that thing, and that's okay. I'm gonna have like that weight and continue to just stay stable.
But are the similar, someone can have the same wardrobe but have a different reason. Like this one person is because I know I'm going to lose weight, I know I'm going to gain weight. but somebody else may just want to hold on to it, like you said earlier, because they just like to be surrounded by stuff. And that could be a whole different reason. Same thing
Yes,
happening in
and
their closet, but if they answer the questions honestly, then they have a whole different.
they will have another different, yes, it can be eventually that she has, I don't know, those clothes. We stay with the weight one or just having clothes about a specific period.
Let's just say someone who has a closet full of stuff that they bring new stuff in, but they don't get rid of old stuff. So the closet is
Of
very
course,
full.
it can be because just to feel out, okay? Not wanting to let go.
Right.
It can be because someone is holding on to what happened with those period of the time.
Okay.
Maybe there was excitement, I don't know.
Right. So what I'm loving about this is that if you're really honest, it starts with the same question or the same clothing or the same closet. And then when the more honest you get with the answers to the questions, the more introspection, the more you can find out about yourself. It's just, so I love that as a starting point for introspection. I think it's fascinating.
Yes. So you start usually of where I was. Okay, so what happened, where I was, why did I do with the clothes? Did I choose my clothes? Was it my parents that made the choice for me? Who bought the clothes? Do I wear the clothes for myself, for my husband, for my environment,
Right.
or my work, or the work? What do I do in the daily habit, lifestyle in general? And then we go to the present moment. What happens now? How is your life? What do you do? Where do you go? What do you wear or not wear? And then it's like a future me or where I want to go.
Interesting. So sometimes we buy clothing for the future me.
For the change that the woman wants to do. Yes.
So what I'm hearing then is that someone might buy clothing for who they would like to be. And I guess some
And
women
it
will
can be
actually
stuck.
wear that clothes, and some people will hold it in their closet wishing that they can wear that clothes.
Yes. Yes.
And so looking at it, you can see from some of our clothing, we can see our past, because some of our new clothing we can see, or even not so new, but some of where we wish to go.
On the past, it can be, yes, it's the nostalgia dressing. So we can hold on to them because of the emotional attachment we have to it, the event, and also who buy the clothes or what it can be from our parents or something that we receive as well. And the future us. We're projecting of what we want to be.
So like there is that concept of as if, like when you act as if you're that person you want to be. So maybe some of those clothing is subconsciously trying to act as if the person you want to be. Some of us buy clothing wishing that we could actually be gutsy enough to wear it.
Yes. Yes.
And then be gutsy enough. It's like, what about that clothing do we want to be? And what is still holding us back, which I find fascinating from our conversation last time.
It's just the courage to do the thing. Sometimes changes is just an action at the time. It can be one clothes eventually, okay? Let's say like you put that clothes and you feel like so beautiful and confident and brave, and you have all these emotions, and on the way you are going to behave differently than the usual.
Like the power suit, like people that buy
Yes,
power
yes,
suits or my
yes.
power color or whatever it is. Like I know when I wear this, I feel confident. I know I look good and I can get the respect of the room. And like, so I'm just curious when someone let's talk about money, because we've started talking a little bit about how money and clothing. So some people, from you looking at their closet, you can see that they don't spend a lot on themselves, whether there's not a lot of clothing or the clothing that they buy is of lesser. Now let's assume that there is enough money to buy. I'm not talking about when someone has a tight budget and is buying based on their budget, but let's talk a little bit about money.
So sometimes when money comes a lot, okay, money comes a lot, sometimes there is some moments that I have really difficulty to spend on themselves. They don't feel worthy of having new things. And they have the budget, as you said. I'm not speaking about someone that is tight budget, that is something completely different. And the goal is not always to go and do shopping. No. Most of the time, also, a woman has the clothes in their closet that she can play around.
And be creative.
Be creative with it and playful. But most of the thing is feeling not worthy enough to spend on myself, on herself. She will not spend.
So when you're looking at your closet and you see that you don't spend, like, is it a question you can ask is like, why am I not spending? Is it a budget, really a budget question? Or is it something that I don't feel worthy enough to have more
It depends.
or nicer?
It depends. Usually when you do work with me or with a therapist in general, you do spend something on
Right.
that. Okay, so eventually there is a specific budget.
Right.
So they will have some budget for the clothing, even though I'm not encouraging spending on clothes all the time. Okay, that's not. There is another profession that do a great job.
Right.
So the unworthiness, the lack of self-esteem to spend can come from home, can come from childhood, that people did not spend on themselves. I had a client that she was like from a family with many children, and clothing was passing on from one child to the other, and she was the youngest.
Oh, wow.
So growing up, even though she had the budget, she wouldn't spend on herself because she has learned that she needs to receive things. So she would receive clothing from other friends. She had kept the same behavior.
Okay. Wow.
Just another environment.
Even though she could now buy her own clothing, she was still in the mode of just receiving.
Yes, because this is what was printed like as a child. That's what she learned. I don't have things that are new for me. I get what my older sister is wearing.
Fascinating.
And when
so
she doesn't want it to fit it, I get it. So the same with friends.
And then someone who spends a lot on their clothing, even if they could afford it or not, what might that be? What kind of questions to ask themselves? What might that be telling them about themselves?
What are you trying to avoid? At what moment are you making the spending? What event happened before? So let's say she doesn't have the budget and she buy emotionally. Okay, it's an emotional spending, whether that she feel uncomfortable feeling or a positive feeling. She will go buy something. What is the feeling that she avoid herself to feel? What is happening to her? Why she cannot hold on to the space for herself and needs to act on it with buying something? And then the money part will say what's going on in your financial life.
Right. So I'm curious about someone who's dedicated this time to go shopping.
Yeah.
And they didn't really find anything that they love, but in the end they just bought something because I spent 5 hours, so I just bought something. It's good enough. It's like I don't love it. Doesn't really represent me, but I bought it.
It's to buy just to buy. Still.
They didn't want to
And
waste
some
their time.
people, some also women don't know what they like. So she will just spend.
And hope that it will work for her.
Yeah.
So we spoke a lot about what our clothing might say about us. And of course, there's many other pieces of clothing and many other kind of questions, but there's that concept of looking at our clothing to tell us about ourselves. But then the other part of transformation is using our clothing to make the change we want to be.
Yes.
So can we talk a little bit about that?
So when you go in a transition, okay, there is something that we let go, okay? We let go of what was to become something new, okay? It's like we let go of something to become something new. That person, you want to show yourself differently eventually. Not everyone will go to the same changes, okay? Not every woman will have the willingness to change also her clothes. It's not everyone. I'm not saying like each woman that go through a transition will go through a transition with her clothing as well. Yet, you're letting go of something that does not serve you to become something that you want to be. And usually you're going to show up differently. So it will be what action do you want to do? How do you want to look like? What are the values you want to have in your closet as well? Is it to be feminine? Is it to be spiritual? Is it to be courageous? And then I will say, okay, choose 5 values you want to show up. Good. And then the question is, okay, how does this woman that is courageous, confident, brave, okay, I just give an example, feminine, will wear? And the definition will change between each woman. Some femininity will be to be in dress. Another one will be to be in pants. Someone will be to have long sleeve. Another one maybe to show a little bit more skin. There is not one definition of what to wear. There will be the definition of what the specific woman will want to do.
How she projects with that confidence. Or
yes, yes, what
she
works for her. Yes.
So you discuss some values, and then how does someone who lives with those values dress? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes. How does this look like with the dress? What colors would you like to wear? What materials? How does she look like? And if the person doesn't know, go look for someone that already show up the way you would like to. Have a role model. Some women don't have the role model at home.
So what I'm hearing then is we're not looking for someone like, I like how she dresses. I like how she is, and let's see how she dresses.
Yes.
Instead of just looking at magazines for fashion, it's like
yes,
someone who you a model of
yes,
character and how she presents herself.
yes.
And not to copy her, but to get an idea of.
Yes, it's not to copy it. Eventually, sometimes it is to copy until we become or we want to develop that thing, because what we see in other is something that exists in us. Otherwise,
say that again, because that's really powerful. What we see in others,
what we see in someone else is a reflection of what we see in ourselves. Most of the time,
in ourselves,
or we wish to have in ourselves, but the ability that I have to see in someone, whether it's negative or positive, okay,
right,
is something that already exists in me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the capacity to see it, because we are all mirrors. We are all showing different aspects of who we are. And most of the times, we need to borrow the lenses of someone else until we are able to see it in ourselves. Someone help us to discover and to have the confidence. It's again back to confidence, to accept it and to act on it.
But I think that balance of when you see it in somebody else, and yes, you can see it in somebody else, but not to try to be somebody else. So yes, on the one hand, you see it because it's part of you. On the other hand, you're really, sometimes people actually see or want something that really doesn't really match who they are very much.
Is to make it, okay, so thank you for this remark. It's to make it adaptable to who you are, okay? Each of us, like let's say you want, I don't know, what kind of things you can see in someone eventually. Someone is smiling all the time. Oh, I wish to smile more. Okay, there are people that comes to the world really bubbly. That's their gift, to be bubbly and happy. Okay, so maybe I'm not a bubbly one every day. Yet choose those moments that you are playful and enjoy those moments. Not becoming that like become completely like a chameleon, someone else.
Right.
Yet, when we see something, we can become it as well in our own way.
And I think that's the key, in our own way.
In our own way, we all have the capacity to be who we are, just to discover and to go through that process.
So now I have another question. When people say dress your age, or that's not appropriate for someone your age. So like, I just want to unpack that, because what does that even mean? Why do people say that? And is there some truth to that?
Is it like a podcast we can curse, or is just politically correct?
Well, let's keep it clean, but you can say with passion.
Well, with passion, it starts with an F. There is some, it's like it's really bothering me when someone will say to a woman or anybody, dress your age. What does it mean? The age of who? Who says that there is a complete catalog of what a woman or a person should or shouldn't wear at what age? It's like it's a society wanting to put in a box somebody. When a woman wants to wear something and she chooses to do that for her own choice, again, for herself, let people speak. They want to speak, but eventually maybe they don't have the bravery to do that to themselves. Maybe she's just saying, oh, you do that and I'm not. Eventually the person, it's like she wish that she could be able to wear that thing that the other woman is wearing right now. And she's not doing that. But anyone can, yeah, nobody can
say when
say
someone comments on it, like sort of the flip of what we said before, if someone comments and they're noticing something about my clothing, let's say, and then she's making a comment, it's like before we said it's a mirror, maybe it's a mirror of what she wishes she could have the courage to do.
Eventually. Again, it's not science and it's not black and white and it's not just like, it's not coming like into a box and you do 1, 2, 3, 4. Eventually the person would say, oh, she wear like that. Oh, I wouldn't do that. Just the fact that saying I wouldn't do that is saying like judging something is happening to me.
Interesting. So if I find myself saying, why is she wearing that? I should really be asking myself, why am I wondering why she's wearing that? What does it say about me?
Yes. I wouldn't do that. So it's about something about like the what is good and not good. It's going into badness and goodness. So I'm good because I wear this, and she's bad because she wear that thing that is not allowed, you know? So it's like the goodness and badness, but who gives like the boundary, the limits of what is good and what is bad in, again, I'm not talking about
religion or any of those other
religion or anything.
So I can walk around with my backpack even though I'm 50 because I feel it's convenient and I like my backpack.
Yeah, why not?
At 50.
Yeah, you do you, okay? You do you. You want to have a backpack and it's convenient for you and you feel great in it and you don't want to be just in one hand bag. Okay.
So does that also mean that when someone's questioning my backpack that they should question themselves, why are they questioning my backpack?
I don't know what was the question.
And someone says, why are you like, you're 50, which 50-year-old wears a backpack? So should that mean they're putting the question back
eventually
to ask that?
Yes. What's going on? It's the same with the badness and goodness. Like there is like 50 backpack and 50 not backpack. Who says? It's the same. Who says? And then there will be eventually everyone. Okay, who is everyone? Like who is everyone? It's your mother, it's your father. Was it the environment? Is it who is everyone? And then you go deep. It's mother, mommy and daddy. Okay. What happened? Like what happened in that moment? It's a limited belief. At that moment, eventually the person could change and say, okay, now that I know that I learned that from home. I'm not saying like each person have their own ways of acting or reacting to a situation. So let's say it's mommy and daddy, and I know that it's a limited belief. Maybe I will give myself now the opportunity and allow myself to have a backpack when before it was not allowed. I don't know. Okay. Or I would say, okay, I know that. Okay, no, backpack doesn't fit with me. It doesn't go with I don't know what I want to do. So no backpack for me. Or eventually, maybe I would like a backpack that is elegant. There is like so many solutions to one issue. We are in times that there is so much abundance, so many choices.
And so I think that because of so many choices, there might be actually something to say about the choice we actually make. And I think that kind of like brings everything together because there's so many options. When we choose something, it's coming from somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. What we do in general, what we do in one area in our life will have impact on everything else. Okay. We don't just do one thing just one way, and everywhere else I will not be doing the same. So in terms of choices, when there are too many choices, some people may eventually get lost. And it will come back to the same thing. When you know who you are, when you know where you're going, when you know you are connected to your deepest sense of you, the choices will be quite clear because I get clarity. The more I know who I am, the more I know my like and dislike, my value, where I want to go, my goals, etc. The choices will be made more clearly. Again, not every time, okay? Sometimes we have subconscious things that are just coming back because it's a work that we do together, that we do every day.
Basically, what we're saying is that our choices do reflect the way we think in general, most of the time. Sometimes there's too many choices and there's like, and time crunch and you just have to choose something and I just have to get out of the store.
Yes.
Don't overanalyze every choice that you ever made.
No,
But when you look for
no.
patterns of choices and patterns of how we do things, there's a lot that can be learned from our clothing.
Yes.
The choices we make in our clothing can really tell us a lot about ourselves, but don't overanalyze any one thing or any one shopping experience.
Yes.
And I think that looking at our choices can help us say, I used to make choices in that way, but I see now that I want to make choices a little bit differently, or I have a different value, which will help me make choices differently. Or before, maybe I was just going with the flow, and now I want to really be a little bit more focused.
So in that way, we change. Let's say she wants to be more focused, so she eventually would like to have clothes that are like more simple or more repetitive or something that keep just specific colors. That's fine.
What I'm hearing also is that it eventually makes your clothing choices easier because it matches the who you are. So when you figure out who you are from the clothing choices that you made or from other ways, but then the second part of using your clothing to solidify your values of now doesn't mean that for the rest of your life you have to dress that way, because we are constantly evolving, whether it's life at us or we learn something new or we're inspired by something and then we decide that we want to go differently. But having our clothing match who we would like to be, I think is fascinating, and it's a little bit trial and error to get your clothing to match who you want to be.
Whether it's clothing or whether it's a choice in general, nothing is fixed. You can always change it. I'm not saying to you, okay, buy a new wardrobe complete, okay, and then try it on and you will see. Then what? You're gonna buy a new one and change the whole thing again? Okay, you don't know what you like. Let's say someone she doesn't know what she like. Okay, try. It's like this thing in new ice creams. Okay, I go in an ice cream shop and I don't know what taste do I like. So you can start with simple flavor: vanilla, chocolate, coffee, pistachio, the simple one. You say, oh, that's nice. Okay, let's level up a little bit more. I will take chocolates with a little bit of, I don't know, crunch inside. I will take vanilla with a little bit of caramel. I will take, and then you level up and you test a new thing. And then you discover what taste. So the clothes is the same. Okay, so I wear all the time black and I wish to have something that would be more colorful. I'm not gonna say someone that wear black to go directly to red. That doesn't make sense. Okay, it's like too direct. It's in the extreme. Okay, so let's start with maybe try a jacket, a jean jacket, a little bit more clear. White. Try blue. You know, you test something a little bit more and you just build on it. After the ice cream, I would say like a building. You have the base, you know who you are, you know what you want, you know that. You have the value, okay, God. I have my environment, my lifestyle, my work, etc. Okay, what I want to show up. And you just belong. And if it doesn't work for you, good, okay, change.
So that's a trial and error, like figure it out. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I
Yeah.
figured myself out, so now my clothing has to match. It's gonna kind of, what I'm also seeing is that it kind of
It's a
works
process.
together a little bit of
Yeah, it's like really together all the time. It's evolving all the time. It's like life. We are not just one thing and we evolve. We start as babies and then adolescents and then young adult and we as the time we just evolve a little bit more.
It's like you want to add color, like, or add a little bit more bravery, then maybe add a scarf. And
Yes.
and then, you know, this is maybe for some, maybe not a major investment because it's a scarf, or for some scarves are very expensive, but, and then you can just take it off if you don't feel confident wearing it because it was just a scarf.
It can
And
be just a necklace, as you say. It can be an accessory, something that you try. Maybe your glasses.
so I love the whole idea of using your clothing to try to project the person you're becoming or the person you want to be, and try it out. It's not a major investment unless you're making it a major investment, but especially in this try it out time, maybe they shouldn't be major investments.
Don't make investment. Don't spend money on things you don't need. And it's playfulness.
I'm so glad we spoke because I found this topic so fascinating, like to get the insights into yourself through the clothing, the making the changes through clothing. I find just like the whole thing fascinating. I wonder what my next shopping experience will be like. Like I'm just like, what is it going to be? Like, what am I going to be looking for? What will I gravitate to? Not that I'm going to over psychoanalyze it, but I think that in the end, I'm going to like really like, huh, what just happened here? Like just because I find the whole idea of using your clothing for as an insight to myself, I find that just so fascinating that I probably will, knowing myself, like do some introspection on my next clothing. Or maybe even like looking at other people's clothing and say, huh, like what does that say about me that I'm noticing that? And what do I want to bring any of that into my life? And what, you know, just without over analyzing. So friends, no, I'm not going to be analyzing you, but I just find it fascinating.
It's not just about analyzing, it's more about also knowing like why people made their choices. I'm not like, again, I'm not like, it's not Mazal. Look at me. Do you know what my clothes are saying right now? No, I don't know. Because it's personal to you. For one, a jeans will mean something, for another one, it will not, you know?
Same sweater can mean something for two different people.
Because and sometimes it doesn't mean a thing.
It just is something that they got.
They just got, or they just want to be simpler. So maybe it work at work, everyone wants that thing, you know, there is not all the time. Like you said before, it's not about over-analyzing things.
So I think that what I'm getting from it is like it's a question, but I don't need to analyze it or like to figure it out. Sometimes the answer is there's just no fascinating answer. It just is. But the idea of clothing being a question of like what is this telling me, or what is my shopping experience telling me, or what is my closet telling me, but without like getting heavy from it. But I think that's sort of what people do with you is that you can really help them figure it out and how to use that information
For themselves.
for themselves and for a
Yeah.
next step.
Yes, looking at a little bit about the closet or their clothing, asking questions, and then dive deep down in what's going on. Okay, we wear clothes all the time. Things happen with them. Situations have happened. Trauma eventually happened in
Right.
extreme situations. So
And so for some people, I guess on the flip of like we talk about trauma, like some clothing may trigger them and they don't want to wear that and that whole category of
yes,
clothing anymore.
I have, like, I had clients that could not wear specific things because of what was represented from the parents or from their young age. I can say about myself, I was not able to use skirt for many years because of my upbringing. And then I came back to just heal the situation and to wear them again.
Right. So I love this. So firstly, what I wanted to bring up is that when we spoke before, you said like you don't need to be in someone's closet. You don't need to see their clothing. You just talk about clothing, or they could show you the clothing. But basically, in other words, you can do this remotely. You don't have to be one-on-one.
No, the one thing I would just ask, please tell me about your closet. What's going on in there? Speak about it. And then it's just open.
So because you can work remotely, you can work with anybody. So how can people reach you?
I have Instagram, Facebook, website.
Okay,
So
we can put all the links in
email,
the show notes, but you want to just tell us what how people can reach you.
on Instagram is Dare to Wear Yourself.
Okay.
That's it.
Dare to wear yourself. I love that.
Dare to Wear Yourself. And on Facebook is Mazal Etoille, my name.
Okay.
And the website is the same name, daretowearyourself.com.
I love that. It's such a brave, and it's a message. I love that name. Daretowearyourself.com. All right. So thank you so much, Mazal. This was like a really, I find this very insightful, very useful, and very practical, and a certain level of fun, a fun way to find out about yourself.
Yeah. Also, thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. Thank you for joining me in another fascinating conversation about midlife. If you'd like to reach me, Devora Krasnianski, to talk about your midlife or anything else, you can reach me at jewishmidlife@gmail.com. You can also find us on our website, jewishmidlife.com, and follow us on Jewish Midlife on Instagram or Facebook, and join our conversations in our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Jewish Women Talk About Midlife. And share what we're doing with your friends and others in the midlife phase.